right, so welcome. Thank you very much for coming. I know there's a lot going on in the afternoon. If the people back by the edges, it's so true. It doesn't matter how big the room is. People will sit at the edges. You can come up front because there are some goodies up here on print. I brought print to a technology conference. Figure that out later. But there are things you'll probably want to get in print. You can still get up and leave, I promise. Anyway, so here's the session. I haven't done this session before, ever. I've been doing sessions for a long time, but I'm very excited about this one. I started doing this because I was on a couple of the panels that you'll see here. Discovered these programs are incredibly meaningful and have great impact in schools. And yet, the dissemination of it wasn't always done in these kind of arenas. So that's what we've got going. Schools know about it, the social networks know about it, but it's really good to give it a space in this conference. So I'm really appreciative to ISTE will do it. If you go to the handout that you see up there, the bit.ly/ISTE session, you'll not only get this presentation, it'll be all the slides in a PDF, but you'll also get the videos. And I never do that because they're so gigantic. Some of the videos are a gig. Some of these you're going to want. So you want to go there, and then you'll be pushed a link that'll let you pull down the videos if you want. So there's a lot of videos, and you'll also get the PowerPoint. So that's bit.ly/ISTE session. And I'll put it up at the end, too, which means you'll then have to stay. All right, this is this is actually a QR code and the URL if you want those, just the PDFs and a few other things, that'll be there too. But I think you're gonna want the handouts to print out. A lot of this stuff is for homes, a lot of this stuff is for communities, and I think you'll want some print. So we have a lot of the print stuff up here, a lot of it's in English and also in Spanish, so that's the print stuff up here. All of it's online, of course, too. Any questions? All right, so let's get started. Again, here's sort of a video to set up what CSR is. CSR means corporate social responsibility. I'm going to define that in a minute, and you'll get a better look at what it means. But here's a video that we kind of use to set that off. So see if you recognize this voice before you see the face. If you can just shout it out. This is a voice you used to know very well. All right, here we go.
You kicking us off?
Yep.
Everybody ready?
Yes.
Cameras ready?
We began to have just a brainstorming opportunity of what ifs. What if we could do this at a broader scale? What if we could do these for a lot of different children?
What this institute has done for me is given me more tools to train my students with the hope of breaking the cycle of poverty that we have in our communities.
I told myself that if I see myself no longer engaged with my students, I will retire. But after this week, I think I have many, many more years to give.
Every teacher that joined this program is leaving changed, is leaving a better teacher, is leaving a better human being.
So these are all free. These are all doable and built for you. Companies put together the money, we put together the resources, that's how it works. So here's what it is. CSR really means corporate social responsibility. What does that mean? Well, in this country, corporations are sort of given the ability, a lot of the individuals that individuals have, and we think of corporations as sort of these faceless big buildings, but in fact, they are people that have children, they are people in their community, and they've begun to realize that it's a chance to give back, just like a person will give and volunteer. CSR-wise companies and foundations that come together sometimes as an industry group will come together because they realize this is their community. Sometimes that's a global community, and as a community it means you're going to want computer skills, you're going to want computational thinking skills, you're going to want to be able to say no to drugs. All these things are part of what these are. So we're going to go over what they look like, and there are so many. This is the print handout, should you come up to the front row, and it's on both sides. And there's everything here from farmland, agriculture exploring, dairies, recycling, manufacturing futures, Sandy Hook, the Shoah Foundation. A wild variety of things are here. So they're all links here, they're all over there. Please come and pick some of those up. So we're going to go through some of them. There's more than we can go through in an hour. So what we're going to do is, do we have them all up here? Great. We're going to, oh, now you come up front. So we're going to go through some that I think are very important. So let's talk a little bit about corporate social responsibility, what foundations do. And let's say that you are an automobile manufacturer and you look around and you realize what's being done in one of the products that you manufacture, automobiles, by distracted driving. So you could look away and go, you know, it's not our problem. Or you could say, hey, distracted driving causes almost 400,000 injuries every year in America. It kills, distracted driving is responsible for 3,477 deaths. That's 2015, last time we have data for that. That means it's more than drunk driving. It means it's more than drunk driving. So, if you're an automobile manufacturer, this is Toyota, they realize that the crash rate for teens is 3 times greater than for adults. Yet, even though all teens know the dangers, 51% of teens admit to talking on a cell while driving. 51%. 46% admit to texting. 51% of teens admit that they're talking on cell phones while they drive. The other 49% are lying, right? I mean, that's the way that works. Now, maybe there's some that don't, but essentially, teens are doing a lot of texting. So what do you do about that? Well, in this case, this is what Toyota did about it. They came to us, we built some lesson plans, and we did a lot of other things too, but look at these lesson plans. These are lesson plans, the science behind safe driving, and they're great, and here they all are. They're actually tied to the national safety standards. Ooh, they're health education standards. Ooh, they're tied to the standards? Yes, they're tied to the standards. Ooh. However, if you don't teach an area where driving is part of what you do, if you're a 6th grade teacher or if you're a middle school, what's going to happen? Because even though your kids are the ones that can be in those cars and your kids can be the ones that will ultimately be driving, what do you do? So to broaden the impact, they did this. Created a video challenge, and here's the way they set it out.
If you could send a message that would inspire your friends to be safe on the road.
Let me say, all of these are kid-made videos. They sent out a challenge, and they said, we want you to tell your peers how not to drive distracted. There's a big incentive, so the clips you're going to see are all from videos submitted.
If you could send a message that would inspire your friends to be safe on the road, what would you say? You now have a chance to spread the word about safe driving through the Toyota Teen Drive 365 Video Challenge. Submit an original safe driving PSA and you could be a winner. The grand prize winner gets $15,000 and a chance to work with the Discovery film crew to recreate their PSA for TV. Enter today at teendrive365inschool.com.
Now, how many think that's a hook? So 15,000 hook. Here's the deal, is once you open it up to a video challenge, then English language arts teachers can use it. You get a storyboard, you tell a story. Social studies teachers can use it because you're telling a story. Get the facts, download stuff, and create original material. You can do storyboards in any kind of class. So suddenly, it's not just about driving, it's about project-based learning. Wow, and these people will all be in cars. They actually have skin in the game. You can do a budget for the video. Okay, it's an actor's cost. It said, well, maybe it's just going to be you on your iPhone. We get a lot of videos that look like that. But this could be the math part, right? Make your own money. Could be an art project. These are things we see all the time with video projects. And it means that when you see a video challenge attached to one of these curriculum packages, that you can then go much broader than you'd go in a normal way. So here's the scoring rubric. Turns out people wanted the scoring rubric for districts that did their own media festival. So if you have a media challenge, whether it's in Collier County and they're just doing it for marine science, or it's the state of California where we do it every curriculum area, you need a rubric, and here it is. You watch the videos online. There's a whole judging infrastructure that other people have come and said, hey, we'd like to have that. So all these things spin out of the fact that Toyota wanted to reach more than just the people that teach driver's education. And look, they won how much? $15,000. That's a nice chunk of change for Emmy and Summer. So that worked out pretty well. You do see, in a lot of the challenges that we do, lots of checks with big amounts. There's one for $100,000. These are for the individual kids. Not bad for a festival, for something you didn't know about maybe. Here's the thing about that I found when you give big checks to kids. They go, what's a check? I mean, really, it's like, not just because it's big, but because they don't have checking accounts anymore. Anyway, that's how that stuff works. So here's something else that's kind of exciting. This was a winner a few years back. His name's Matthew and his partner, and I've presented with them. We've gone around and talked around the country. So I was watching NBC News. Actually, somebody called me to turn on NBC News. So when the students were marching against gun violence, when the students were saying, don't arm teachers, we don't want armed teachers in our classroom, look who it is. It's the same kid. So there he is. Maybe he discovered his leadership skills when he made this video for Toyota and won the festival. Anyway, won the challenge, the video challenge. But so you never know what getting kids involved in this kind of thing is going to lead to. It gave me goosebumps when I saw Matthew doing that. There he is that's NBC, but he was all over the place. Anyway, so this is the winner of the video challenge.
Ellie, Mom said not to.
Sarah, it's fine.
Ellie.
I do it all the time. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It was only for a second. Sarah, it's fine. It's only for a second. It's only for a second.
So pretty good work, don't you think? Now again, the kids will win. Oh, yeah, thanks, you can applaud. Yeah, the video makers in front are applauding. Pretty good. They're not all heavy like that. This is one shot by kids. I kind of like the funny ones. I try to judge as many of these as I can. So here's one. These are aliens that are coming down from the future. Or maybe they're Earthlings from the future.
Wait, what were we supposed to do with this history assignment again?
All right, let's see here. Observe 21st century teenage drivers before self-driving cars. Write a report. That's right. What an antique device. I'll make sure to make note of that.
Wait, he's got his phone out.
What's wrong with that?
This is how I lost my arm. A distracted driver in his flying car. Teen also. And he isn't even wearing a seatbelt.
Come on, even our autopiloted commercial rockets have seatbelts. Oh, noted.
Jeez, how loud is that classical music?
He should not be driving like this.
We have to warn him.
Dude, have you forgotten? We're not allowed to talk to people in the past.
We have to do something.
I know this telekinesis is working. Put down your phone, pay attention to the road, turn down your music, and put on your seatbelt.
Oh, it was worth a shot. I was about to tell him about asteroid stocks, whatever.
Anyway, so kids will have a good time making this. They're not always going for the 15 grand, although it's not a bad idea. And then there's other prizes too. That's the big one. There are other prizes too. So that's how they work. This is also a thing that Toyota has done. As we talked about driverless cars, we went and did a field trip. It's going to air in the fall in the driverless car area. So we work with kids. We've sort of built an artificial intelligence so we could actually see what a driverless car does. Toyota's take on it is very different than other companies. Anyways, so they're doing stuff like that. Here's where you can go to Teen 365 in school. You want to see the winners for the last few years. Some are very funny. Some are kind of heavy, but all good to go see. So that's how it works. So any questions about that one? Actually, there's not really time for a lot of questions. See me afterwards up here. I think there's room for everybody, and we'll have, I'll be able to answer questions, because I want to take you to another one too. This is really what got me involved in programs built from corporate social responsibility, from foundations, from industry groups, and that's this one. It's Operation Prevention. Now, here's the thing. It turns out, and you may know this, that opioid addiction is really plaguing a lot of towns, plaguing a lot of states, particularly small towns in certain areas. If that's an area that speaks to you, then you definitely want to come up and get the print materials. All of it's online, but we have a lot of print material up here too. So here's the thing, it's also in Spanish, right? Es todo en español también. So we've got English and Spanish versions, and all of this is about substance abuse. So this is a video. Met a lot of the people in this video. Nearly everyone has a story. The stories are generally heartbreaking, but here's the video that we use when we're talking about this one.
12.5 million Americans abused prescription painkillers in the last year.
It's gone up since then.
78 Americans die every single day from opioid overdoses.
I sat there several times with tears in my eyes because I know that those numbers are heartbeats that are no longer around, and that's hard.
The Pittsburgh FBI office initiated a program to identify an addendum curriculum specifically focused on prevention and education.
We have a partnership now with Discovery Education. We have created a STEM-based curriculum that we can drop into any middle school or high school in America.
This curriculum really provided age-appropriate content for kids, and the wealth of ancillary materials provides opportunities for teachers to have those deep conversations at the school level.
Even in my home, being with DEA for 27 years, for my child to say, people can just stop. If you start using heroin, if you got willpower, you just stop. And at that moment, I realized our kids need to be educated, and this program does that.
So, I mean, how great is it that you have a program that'll address that? The DEA keeps numbers. They know, hate to tell you this, that DARE doesn't really work very well, the numbers on it. Scared Straight doesn't work very well. So if you want to have impact, this is a science-based approach that they think will work better, going through the science part, the STEM part. So we'll see how it does. But the DEA thinks it's going to work very well. So far, it looks very well. It's working pretty well if you talk to the mayors and the school boards where it's happening. And we had a dinner with some of the people involved, and I'll tell you, there were so many personal stories about how it worked. Anyway, you may have those in your community too. So here's the website. Again, it's on the one-pager. It's in the handouts, but you can go there and download a lot of stuff. There's a field trip. You see in the bottom, that's a student, and the student tells her story. You know, it was one where both parents were really had fallen into the opioid hole, and she'd go to her friend's house and stay for dinner and then say, oh, it's too late to go back. She'd spend the night in one place, and she'd go spend the night in another place. She did that for a long time, and no one identified the problem. She graduated. She's now talking about what it all meant. Anyway, so pretty heavy stuff. This is good, but here are the activities, right? This is the city of Huntington, West Virginia. It's sort of the case study for what we're doing, but on the side you see an introduction from a senator, full-length version, but all this is a sort of a field trip to the city of Huntington Beach. You can download the activities. Again, the classroom resources are for elementary, middle, high school, and there's a self-paced module there too if you want to do stuff online. But this is STEM-based. It's actually tied to the curriculum. It's not something you have to come after school and do. You can fold it in if you want. Here's the elementary stuff. The elementary sometimes, part of the education is not to take pills, even though they look like candy and other stuff. So there's lessons there. Here's the middle school lessons. Again, getting more STEM-like. There's a community aspect, and here's the high schools. And again, these are just part of them. If you go into the site, you'll find very deep stuff on all this. Look, there's a digital lesson. There's the teacher's guide. All this is up there. All this is very effective. All of this is free. How many think that's a good deal? Let me just see a hand. How many think that's a good deal? So that's why I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad to have the chance to talk about it. Science is addiction. All this is just part of the one part. There's an educator training too, in case you think teachers need to find out how important this is in your district, your state, or your community. So this is, that's one of them. That's the opioid addiction one. There was a video challenge for all the same reasons we talked about before. This is a heavy one, but let's watch it. Here we go.
Waiting to die. That's what I'm...
Let me just say this is one kid that shot it all on his iPhone by himself, which is interesting. So his story of how he shot it and how he had to set it up, and it's kind of an interesting story in itself, but here's the video.
Waiting to die. That's what I'm doing. I am laying on this ground, fully conscious, but utterly immobile. Why? Because I didn't listen. Because I pushed out every lesson I had been taught. Because I thought lots of people do it. There's no way it's gonna kill me. Because I was selfish. Because I didn't think about the consequences to my actions. Because I wasn't content with all the blessings that I already had. Because I didn't pay attention to people that I loved that were trying to help me. Because I refused to seek guidance. Because I wanted the world to know that I was independent. Because I allowed my pride to cloud my judgment. Because I ignored the destruction it was causing me physically and mentally. Because I just wanted to be accepted. Here I am, lying on the floor, about to become a mere memory, waiting to die. Because I took opioids. Please don't make the same mistake.
Okay. So that wasn't the only entry, but sometimes just kids making a video, makes them get the facts and do that kind of stuff. So that's pretty good. Anyway, so here's the parents' toolkits. It's in English and in Espanol también. Both of them are up here. Please come grab as many as you need. Remember, you can download it and print it out yourself, but these are glossy and everything, and I will have to take them back on the airplane unless somebody takes them. So they're right up here. Joe, raise your hand. There they are, English and Spanish. Joe speaks both languages. He's glad to help. Anyways, good thing. Glad the DEA did this? What do you think? Can impact? Yes, thank you, because they like hearing this. And at the very end, I'm going to give you a survey. It's an online survey. It's a short one, but we want to know what you thought was the most important, why you're glad you came to this session, because we want to do this more places. Should we do this more places? What do you think? Okay. What I heard was, woo. Okay, so here we go. It's not all downers, though. This is happiness. Turns out, and you know the stats, I don't have to show you the bar graph, kids today are under more stress than any other generation we've had. You worry about it when you come to school, right? You worry about the stress, worry about bullying, all these things. But guess what? You can be happy. So this is LG, the manufacturer, whose motto and whose name means life is good, and they decided to teach people how to be happy. What does it mean? It means there's actually a curriculum about happiness. So like the others, there's field trips, there's curriculum areas. Let's take a look at this. And these are the segments. You can see it. And I'm sorry to say there's no way I can edit myself out. I'm actually in this field trip. So you'll see it's me and one of the Mythbusters hosts. So it's me and one of the new Mythbusters hosts. And we're talking about happiness. So this is happiness. These, again, are short videos, but something you might want to do because maybe kids need to be reminded that they're supposed to be happy, that life is supposed to be good. Anyway, here's part of it.
Oh, life's good, right, Brian?
It is good, but what makes for a good life?
Happiness makes for a good life, but what is happiness? If you ask different people, you're going to get different answers.
Happiness is... No, you go.
Okay. Happiness is family. You're laughing so hard that you can't breathe for a second.
It's how you feel. It's not letting the outside world get to you.
Doing what you love the most and being around the people you want to be around.
Sometimes happiness is really small moments. Being the best me I can be.
Happiness is something that you make.
Yeah, but happiness isn't just a mood. Happiness is good science.
Yeah, you think happiness has to do with the heart, but in fact, it has to do with the brain.
Happiness is more than just psychology, it's physical. We can actually see happiness in the brain. When we're happy, parts of our brain light up on a brain scan.
Wow, so how would I light up my brain to head toward happiness?
Skills. You're gonna need the skills. With these 6 sustainable happiness skills, you can change your brain.
Mindfulness, human connection, gratitude, positive outlook, purpose, generosity.
Yeah, but that's just the beginning of the science behind happiness. Let's check into the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley. Hey, how you doing, Doc?
Hi, it's Emiliana Simon Thomas.
So, are you happy today?
Yes, I am happy.
Isn't it good that she's happy? Because she's at the Happiness Center. So what would this mean? This would mean you could actually sit down with kids after they've been through all the drills, after they've been through all the digital citizenship stuff, and you can say, let's talk about being happy. Let's do some exercises for this. So here they are. You've got teacher resources, and this is not, kumbaya stuff. This is really stuff that they know from the scientists that you can go in and hear about, who puts people in fMRIs and watches what makes them light up. So here it is, there are teacher resources there. There's a lot more of those. You see there's classroom activities, mindfulness, happiness role play. All this stuff is there. If you're thinking about buying an SEL resource, think about looking at this one first because it's completely free. This is one of the classroom activities, the mindfulness muscle. And you can see it's got a time, 45 minutes. It's got an overview. All of these are done like that, so you can actually think about planning and dropping it in. All these are very school-friendly, classroom-friendly things. It's not like you have to redo everything to do it. Hopefully, there's a place in the school year where we can talk about happiness and how to do happiness with kids. Let's hope so. Anyway, so that's those are a brief sample of this. What I'd like you to do now, and let's do this for just a few minutes, but does everybody have the handout? Everybody have that sheet? Everybody got that? Why don't you look at it and see if there's one that you'd like to visit more? And that means you can actually go online or look it up, but I'll leave one of the pages up here. There's a whole other page, obviously the back, this is the front. But you can see these are pretty easy to type. Ignite My Future is about computational thinking. Ag Explorers, if you're in an area that does mining or farming, you know that you're losing your young people. They're not sticking around. So here's a chance to maybe start in the 5th grade and get them to understand exactly the joy of all that. So take a look at that and see if you see some things that you might want to do. Notice in the health and wellness part, there's NFL stuff. there are people on our team, it's Lance, who would kill me for not showing the NFL stuff. They work with John Madden, the Madden, I think it's the Madden Foundation, and the NFL. So there's actually a health and wellness thing that tie around, Madden, which is pretty cool. So that's it's obviously, if you're not don't play computer games, the Madden football series is huge with young people and sports bars. Anyway, so all that's there, health and some. So take a look. Take a look. Here's the second page. There's a lot of STEM stuff. Financial literacy. These are from people who have felt like kids and maybe some adults don't really know how to manage their finances themselves. They haven't done it. The rules have changed. The taxes have changed. So all this is there too. Also on this side, you'll see the Sandy Hook Promise, the foundation. Start with hello. Learn how to say hello. Maybe there's ways that we can do things with kids other than just put big iron doors up. Anyway, there's the Showa Foundation. There's Discover You're Happy. There's the Teen Drive Challenge. There's Kaching, which is about that. The Siemens STEM Day is also huge. We're going to talk about another. We're going to talk about Decoding Cancer and some others. But I wanted you to have a chance to look. Did anybody see anything that really leaps out at them? Which one? Oh, the financial literacy one, yeah. They're very big on that. Some people come and they go to town on that one. Financial literacy. Again, look, you've got it for different grade levels in the financial literacy and economics. There's pathways to financial success, 9 through 12. But there's one STEM vest that goes all the way down to 6th grade. All right, anybody else want to contribute, or I'll just keep going? Yeah? How many people found something that's good? Okay, good. Yay, yay. You can clap. It's a big room. Applause is allowed. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so you want to see another one? Go in deep on another one? Yes, we would. Okay, so this is an interesting one. There's some about happiness, some about sports, and some celebrate different things. This one I think is really strong for several different reasons. And I'll show this to you because it's an online thing that's I thought was cooler than anything I'd seen. The story is, it's from a woman who was a professional golfer, and she had a very good friend who was misdiagnosed with cancer and died a year later. It was, if they diagnosed it, they would have found the cause, and there could have been a treatment. So what do you do when you want to have social responsibility, and that's a problem you recognize didn't just happen to you? Maybe what you have to do is show people what it means when they're getting cancer treatment. Show people how the diagnostic process works, and maybe at the end, try to get kids involved so they want careers in diagnosis, become diagnosticians. Wouldn't that be a good thing? That's what's in this, and that's why it's so deep. So it's called Decoding Cancer. I'm going to walk you through some of it, but it's pretty cool. And there are the partners. Val Skinner is the golfer, former LPGA golf champion, who really, her foundation is supporting this. And we're looking at cancer through the lens of breast cancer. But it's also with Rutgers Discovery Education, Rutgers Institute, New Jersey, all this, and Life, all this stuff works in that. So here's sort of what it does. You've got digital lesson plans. And again, I'm going to go through this fast, but they're in GSS aligned. What? They are? Yes. And they're free? Why, yes. What is cancer? Getting the results. Again, you can go to this. I'm not going to walk you through the slide, but here's some of the cool things about it. One, you got career profiles. Maybe you'll want to do this. Maybe you like the forensic part of it. Maybe you're a kid that would work. Well, here's a chance to find out, and find out I think is in a pretty engaging way. There's also a family discussion guide. One of the things about cancer is that it doesn't just affect the patient, it affects the family. So now you've got ways you can talk to little kids, ways to talk to big kids, ways to talk to other families, but it's a family discussion guide. All that stuff's thrown in there free. But here's the part that I like the best. The Decoding Breast Cancer Virtual Lab. So it's a virtual lab. So you click on that, you go to the site there, you click on it, and what's this lab about? It explains, but essentially, you're giving a list of patients. You can only do them one at a time, which is the way it should be. Look at patients one at a time, and you come in and you see them from the mammogram all the way through to treatment. So here's the first one. And the kid has to decide what's going to be done. What do you do when you see all these slides? Anyway, so there's her, and you're given a couple of slides, and the one on the right actually shows a lump. This is one you want to follow up on. The one on the right is healthy. And you hold the mouse over, and you can look around for different things. You're going on a mouse looking through the mammogram. And you click on areas that you think are abnormal, and it tells you what it is, and you submit the test then, and they tell you whether it's right or wrong, right? They submit just like you do if you were a doctor. You submit like a little sample, and they tell you whether it's right or wrong. So that's pretty cool. Then you click on the object once you identified a mass, and you say, well, how big is that really? This one is actually the size of a walnut, but it's interesting to see. And you're going through this step you see on the sides through this, process that people go through. Anyway, so there we go. That step one, you've taken a biopsy. You've ordered a biopsy, so they put it in wax. It's kind of interesting if you don't know what it is. I didn't know how it works. Then I skipped some of this, but then you stain it. Then you go in and you look at the slide. So kids get to look at the slides. So which of these, there's normal, there's cancerous. Again, the mouse can be like a microscope. You can hover over and see what it is. And then you have to decide which it is, and then you have to go through the diagnosis, and there's a lot of different things you can do. You go through one patient, then you go through another patient, you go through another patient. I don't think that's a good idea. I thought that was just really cool on a lot of different levels. Anyway, so that's one of the Val Skinner ones. Talking about careers, and she wanted to, the foundation would like more people to go into the diagnosis business in cancer. Here's another one. This is Lockheed Martin. We took kids on a field trip to Lockheed Martin where they build space stuff, where they build these things that go out in space and satellites and other deep probes and things like that. So there's a lot of cool things in here. There's the field trip, which is still online. You can still go in and see what it's like to walk through a manufacturing facility. And look, a video challenge. What? Anyway, all this stuff is there. That's the old one. I don't know if they're going to do the video challenge for next year or not. We'll have to see. But here's a couple of things that are from the field trip. I did 2 field trips. I saw the other day in Education Week that at ISTE and in education in general, there were 5 hot topics. One was AR, one was VR, one was AI. I'm doing a session on AI tomorrow. Anyway, the plug. But here's what we saw in a workplace in Lockheed Martin, in a manufacturing facility, space industry. This is what they're doing now. So this is the AR part.
Let me introduce you to both Rachel and Catherine, who are supporting our automated welding cell, similar to the weld cell you saw earlier in our rigid line. Rachel, Catherine, what are you working on?
I'm actually doing the vision programming for the machine right now. What the vision programming is basically writing code for the eyes for the robot. This automated cell is smart. So the robot uses cameras to teach itself where to find the diodes and braze them.
What I'm writing is the HMI, human-machine interface, and it basically talks to the robot like Rachel's vision system, and I pull data from the robot as it does the brazing.
And so how does this all come together?
My software, when it looks and it sees a diode, it sends back to Catherine's software whether that diode is there or not, and if it's ready to weld.
So you have
and then,
women
Catherine,
in there.
how does your software communicate back to mine?
So I'll send you a binary array and tell to actually interface what kind of locations you need to use. And then once I get that information back from you, I'll submit everything to the server, telemetry including the current, voltage, and force that we've recorded.
Based on what Rachel and Catherine have both been doing, this work cell has now decreased in schedule and cost by 5 times.
Okay, here's the AR
Here
stuff.
at Lockheed Martin, we're always looking to improve our processes. One way that we've done that is through AR, or augmented reality. Rachel is going to show us how we've used our AR to help improve our product flow.
Sure, so this is actually our augmented reality work instructions, and if you're not familiar with augmented reality, it's computer layering digitization over real life. So Pokemon Go is a perfect example of use of augmented reality on your phone. Here what we have is a target that is looking for part specific, and it will show the work instructions as I push through it. So having someone use 3D work instructions to assemble a 3-dimensional part allows for less error. These are all ABS plastic. We have 3-dimensionally printed these parts.
Let me see if I understand this. We have great prototyping. We're able to use a 3D printer, print the material, you use visual instructions, you put the parts together, and you are able to deliver an error-free work instruction to production.
That's
wow,
right.
That's great.
So again, unpacking that a little bit, what that means is that when they come up with a new part, there's no manual of instructions. You make a video and you hold the part under in that case it's a little tablet, And it shows you what you're supposed to do. How many like to have that as instructions? When you've ever assembled like a Christmas toy or something like that, it's like, what tab A, slot B, what does that even mean? This way, it shows it to you at an industrial level. And did you notice they had a MakerBot? So schools have that stuff. And when you say, gee, should we go into technology? Should we buy a 3D printer? It's like, yeah, if you want your kids to be engineers at Lockheed Martin. So going through that stuff again, another little message that's sent, and you can go on this field trip. Now, what I like to do is take pieces of it, the AR, VR part, and use it. This is the VR part. I just took out the VR part. This is from the first field trip. But this is you'll see he's going to put on a headset, much like the headsets you see all over this show floor. Is it just a woo-woo thing? Is it going to be real? Here's how they're using it in Lockheed Martin.
So I'm taking you to our 3D immersive cave system. So this is a virtual reality system where we can bring in our 3D models to look at them in an immersive 3D way. You know, a decade ago we used to build plywood or cardboard mock-ups to do this type of work, but now we can do it in our cave system. So, you know, one of the things we might be looking at is how a technician might get in here with a torque wrench to fasten down these boxes right here. So we're really able to sort of lay out the whole spacecraft in an optimal way, so our engineers and production folks can put this together in an effective manner. I love my job.
Of course you do. It's a great job. So how did they used to assemble those things? Plywood, cardboard, all those things that are not the jobs anymore. It's who can build the VR environment. Now, at ISTE this year, you'll be able to find people who are already building virtual environments. There's some poster sessions, also some real sessions. The kids are starting to code things like this. The possibilities of this are very large, and sometimes it's good to have something that's real world, real jobs, that school boards like, that superintendents like, to say, okay, we're not just doing it because it's cool, nifty stuff we saw at ISTE. This is what they're doing there. So that's why I really like some of these things. Anyway, there's the whole field trip down there. You can see it, you can download it, you can look at it later, but that's how that stuff works. So any questions about that? All right, what about computational thinking? Big thing, factor you want to hear about? Computational thinking? Sure. So why yes. So here's one that really is directed toward that. Here we go.
Today, technology is all around us, at every intersection, at every accelerating new discoveries, bridging gaps, priming us for greatness, and changing the workplace as we know it. But are we ready? Today, less than 25% of U.S. schools teach modern computer science-related courses. And yet, by the year 2020, there will be 1 million more jobs that require computer science skills than there will be graduating students qualified to fill them. Transformation in healthcare, agriculture, manufacturing, and other industries is happening at lightning speed. And with technology at the center of it all, we must change the status quo to prepare for a new tomorrow. Let's empower our students with the skills they need to propel us forward. By infusing computer science into everyday subjects, we will ignite the spark of tomorrow's innovation today. Join us as we reimagine the future.
That's pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool video. Again, you'll get that video sent to you. But Tada, who put this together, didn't just want to make a splashy video. They put their money into building curriculum and videos and lessons that are going to be, I think you'll agree, easier to integrate into schools. So let's see what that really means. And again, this is them saying, we're going to need computational thinkers. They recognize that. They're looking long term. So what can they do to get computational thinking in schools? So that video is supposed to be an incentive. If you want it, remember again, just click on the link or send away the bit.ly at the end, because you can get links to download this and every other video that you've seen, which is a pretty good deal, I think. Here's what it looks like. So here's the e-learning modules that, again, this came from Tada. It's the way that it works. E-learning modules, learn, inspire, share. You see that there's pre-test videos, post-test, and certificates. This is one of the things in the professional learning guide. Here's the other part and here's I just put together some of the lessons that are there. There are deep, good lessons. And look, here they are. So computational thinking, that's pretty good. We're going to look more at that. Developing algorithms, that's part of of artificial intelligence. It's part of what computational thinking works. Finding patterns, building models, all these are things that you want. All these are things that are lessons that are in there ready to go with videos and lots of other cool stuff. This is Unplugged. This is also a part of it. I kind of like the red and black extension, you know, the power cord that's going in. See, Unplugged. This is computer science without a computer. Oh, my school, we don't have a lab. Here it is without a computer. So there are a lot of activities, because a lot of what you do in computational thinking, you can do without a machine, right? It's the way that algorithms work is you have a simple thing and like usually one rule that you can follow, and that's what an algorithm is. And kids can learn that by following one rule to the end and seeing how it works. So this is one. Computer science without a computer. And look at all the different activities there are. I pulled down the menu so you can see it, but binary numbers, text compression, spanning trees. All this stuff is in there. Those real-world lessons that people can do. You don't need a lab to do it. There are videos that show you what to do. There's community stuff. I mean, how deep is this? We could spend an hour just on the computational thinking element, which is one of the things jammed on this size, 9 font. So here's what they look like. Here's one of the videos, for example. This computational thing. Oh, I just took a still of it. Oh, here we are. So this is Unplugged. This is a sorting algorithm. We don't watch the
Computers
whole thing.
often have to sort lists into order, sometimes alphabetically, by date, or some other value. Usually computers can only compare 2 values at a time. We're going to simulate this by using balance scales to make the comparison. Each container is a different weight, and you need to use the scales to compare them. One approach to sorting them from lightest to heaviest is to find the heaviest one first. This is done by comparing each container with the heaviest one so far. After all the containers have been compared, we have found the heaviest container. We then do this again to select the heaviest from the remaining containers.
Anyway, you get the idea. By the way, let me translate. Heaviest is heaviest, just in case. So there's different ways to do sorts. Now this may seem simple, but this is exactly the way if you go to Facebook's AI scientist who talks online. We'll talk about that tomorrow in that session. This is exactly what they do, what they have their machines do. It's the beginning of computational thinking is algorithms that go in a simple way.
Is to pick a container at
So now we're going to look at different ways to do sorts. Well, that's part of the deal. Anyway, all that's there. All that's in, and the video support for each of those lessons is there, and it's deep. It's really a great thing to be able to bring back to the school. Anyway, all of it's free, and there's where it is. Curriculum connectors. This is what I thought is pretty cool. Again, if you believe that we need more computational thinkers, if you believe we need computer scientists because that's where the jobs are, if you're consulting agencies that sees the need out in a bunch of different industries, and you want to get it in schools, you go, okay, well, the computer science people already have a pretty deep curriculum. Are we going to go to the lab for this? How about if we connect it to everything? So these are the curriculum connectors. So this is built in, so you can fold it into language arts. You can fold it into math. There's a transdisciplinary one there. There's science and there's social studies. So this is a way that you can integrate computational thinking in with existing class structures. And that's really what you have to do. To say we're going to do this as an after-school club is not to have a transcendental effect. You know what I mean? We're going to really transform things. We're going to need things like this, which tie computational thinking and computer science to our traditional lessons in math, language arts, science, and social studies. The people that are here at this conference are not our computer science teachers, right? There are a lot of people, in fact, the majority of them are in the curricular areas. So there you go. And you can see at the bottom, this is actually, I took this off another page, but this is the sort of circle that builds computational thinking. Data, analyze data, find patterns. All this stuff sort of goes on, and that's what you can kind of see. So that's the way that can work. Any questions about that? All right, so does everybody have have one of the sheets, have the 2-pager that has all the stuff on the front and back? Because what I'd really like to do is let you have time for a change to come up and ask questions or to look through what those things are. I've actually got somebody that helped build these programs that's online. You can call, and I can put you through to them that knows about all these programs. I know about some, but I've got somebody in the line that can talk to you about that. So and this is really sort of the closing video. We're going to have more time than then you may be expected to do it on your own. But here's the last part of that opening video.
We're live from Washington, D.C., and right now I'm outside of Ford's Theater. As we go through this program, we're going to go inside and see where President Abraham Lincoln was shot.
Hi, my name's Jade Titus. I work here at Twin Falls Tribani. I'm the process engineer here. A couple of the cool innovations that we have here today we're going to go take a look at. One of them is in operation, and one of them is actually in the works.
Hi, my name's Boyd Miller. Welcome to Whitehall, Michigan, at Alcoa Power and Propulsion's manufacturing facility.
We do not want our past to be our children's future.
Day to day, when you get those smiles, when you get those hellos, when you get those hugs, and you know that what you're doing is right for kids, we're inspired to do more and to do better in everything that we do.
Without programs like Google for Doodle, she would have no place in this world, so thank you for that.
We can harness and take advantage of the amazing technological revolution that's taken place to help young people learn, succeed, read, get great jobs, and start their own businesses and do great things.
I don't know if you remember that video, but that was the sitting president interviewed by a student rather than by another suit and tie. So how many people have learned something today? Yay! So here's what I've done. This is as a presenter who really likes to jam everything in. Rather than show you and walk you through a whole bunch of these, I've actually given you almost 12 minutes, 13 minutes, which is a lot for me to give up, to look through on your devices and go through and see if you can find something here that you'd like to ask a question about or go deeper on. So this is time for you to go through. I'm going to stay here. You can come up. We can go through it if you want and look at the computer. But take this time, please, to go through this site, find one that you think is interesting to you, and go in deep. Because while I'm here, while we have people on the phone that are ready to answer your questions, take a look. There's something. It's hard for me to believe there's not something on here for everybody. So take it. Remember, all this stuff is there. All this stuff is accessible to you. This was put together, and there's the Discovery Education logo. We did work with these people. The reason they come to us is because we're in more than half the schools in the U.S. We're in the Mideast. We're in parts of Latin America. We're in England. And when you want to make a global change, or your communities of the world, or your communities of the United States, that's why they came to us. So we're proud of these programs. We think they work. We think they are done with a realistic view of what teachers and schools have to do every day, and how you're going to fit in something that's new, that's not part of whatever textbook you've adopted, that's not part of something you have to do. But we think this will slide in, not just because they're important, and they are important, but because they're school friendly. So I'm going to be here, but take this time, please, to go through on your device, look through. If you see something you'd like or don't like, let me know. Here is, and I'd really like you to fill this out, please, this is a feedback form. And from this, we'll know what had the greatest impact for you. So if you'll just go, and you can do it on your phone, you can go on somewhere else, it's a Google form. But if you'll go to bit.ly DECSR, what does CSR stand for? Corporate? Social? Responsibility. Thank you very much. Give that woman a book, Joe. Don't we have some books to give away? Anyway, so please go there and give us some feedback. If you take this form and you share it with somebody else tonight, or you're doing it because you're in this session and they're in another session, and they have feedback for us too, write that down. We really need to know what's working, because we spend a lot of energy on this. We want to make sure that we're meeting you where you need to be. Other than that, I'm going to pull that back up in a second, but here's the URL if you want to get those videos, to maybe go back and show your school board colleagues, or show the superintendent, or show the community why this stuff's important. These videos we spent some time on. Don't you think the videos were good? Yes, they were. Good. And now you can have them and use for your own devious purposes. So that's the incentive to go here to bit.ly .ISTE session. So go there and you'll find it. You want the one that says Mining the Treasures of CSR. So I'm going to go back. There that is. Give you a second on that. Then go back and look at the other form. This is online. If you go to this site, tinyurl.com/HD handouts, you'll be able to get this form. If you don't want the paper version, you'll be able to pull this up on your device. The QR code will do that too. So this is online. The winning Toyota Video Challenge makers are online. If you like project-based learning, you want to make videos, those are online too. You can download all of that stuff. Some of those videos are 1.5 gigs, but if you have the patience, I think you'll be rewarded by those videos. So that's tinyurl.com/HD handouts. And you know, I guess I could have put all these on the same page, I guess. That's the one, tinyurl. That's also the one in the ISTE app, the digital tool bag, so you can find that. This one is not in the digital tool bag, but this is the one, again, that we have where you can get the videos pushed to you. And this, again, I'll change it to second, is we can get feedback, which we'd really, really like to do. Really, if each of you could do that, that'd be great. I've left you the time to do it at the expense of my own talking, which for me was very hard to give up. So here we go. That's, again, the feedback form. Please go fill that out, and it would be great. So thank you very much. I will give you the rest of this time. It's 10 minutes. Hopefully you won't leave and go to the next session, but you'll actually spend some time looking at that sheet and saying, Dairyland, what could that be about? Or Madden NFL, ooh, what could that be about? Go there, see, do some of the interactives, and see what you think. That sound like a deal? All right, thank you very much then. I'm not going anywhere. Thank you for the front row. Thank you. Thank you very much. And again, if you have deeper questions, if you come up here, then I can call somebody that knows about each one of these programs. Because my depth is good on some of them I was a part of in some small way, but the others I don't know. But every time I go, I go in these to check them out for the session. They're just so good and so deep. But I'm leaving you this time. Isn't that a good idea, Joe? To leave them time to explore. The gift of time. So go in there. I wish this was an interactive, and even on the handout it's not if you download it. But the URLs are pretty easy to type, right? DiscoverUndeniablyDairy.com. That's pretty easy. AgExplorer.com, pretty easy. Getting the URLs is a big part of the game. SuperHealthySuperYou.com. Anyway, take a look at those. And again, thank you very much for your time. Thank you much for coming into this very big room and having a good time. Thank you. I'm not going anywhere.